Alright, what's up? It's Ty from Ronin Customs. Hey, I got a second video here of that old, see if you guys recognize it. Remember this bad boy? Did this about a year ago. Fixed this thing, and I finally get to get around to painting it, but when I got the parts brought in, turns out that the front fairing is completely broken. So we're going to do some plastic welding on this thing. I figured I'd shoot another video of kind of what I can do here. And yeah, so we're going to get this one plastic welded back up, get it about good as new. And I was supposed to do paint on it this week, so hopefully we can get that all sorted out. Anyway, I'll shoot. Alright, so first rule of plastic welding is you have to get the contamination or the contaminants out of the weld. So you can't just have paint in the weld will break again. So you got to sand off all the paint. See, we did both sides here. The inside has a little bit of paint, but that's really just overspray, so that's not that bad at all. It's hard to get the sander in there, and I'll wipe away a little bit or as much as I can with like lacquer thinner. But most importantly, we got to get as much of the paint out of the weld as possible. Now, one thing I wanted to mention to you guys is I know a lot of people are like, hey, you know, I fell, I laid my bike down, I broke my plastics. I'm just going to go on eBay and buy some cheap ones because you can get them for like 300 bucks or whatever. Let me show you the difference between OEM plastics and cheap Chinese plastics on eBay. So if you look at the thickness of OEM plastic, this is Kawasaki. It's from I think an 05 Z1000. You can kind of see if I can get focus here. There we go. You can see how thick that is. That's a good chunk. That's hard to break. You gotta lay your bike down hard for this thing to happen. So here is Chinese plastic. So let's see the difference here. This is Chinese plastic compared to OEM plastic. You see how thin that is? Look at that. That's like a piece of paper. That's, look at this. Look at this. This is Chinese plastic. This is cheap crap. Look, this is why I had to fix it. Right? You don't want this. This is terrible. Don't waste the money. Don't waste the money. For 300 bucks, you can get your real good plastics fixed, and then your stuff doesn't break. So, the guy doing this bike made a good decision. Just get it fixed. Don't spend the money to buy a cheap front fairing. Anyway, we're going to get welding on this. I'm going to get the tack welds welded up. I'll show you guys what that's all about. Alright, so did some quick tack welds basically. We just wanted to line the part up nice and clean. Make sure that everything, you can see the edges there, just line up real nice. So, you know, with a front fairing like this, if the alignment of the holes is off, the whole thing's going to put a lot of pressure on that weld, and the weld might break again. So you got to make sure you get it really lined up nice and neat. So you can just see, just threw a couple of quick welds in here. So what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to end up starting on this line and working my way over, and as this part dries and cools, I'll be heating all the way through. So the part will never move now that I've tacked it all the way around. Threw a couple of quick ones on the inside here also. You can see like there's not a lot of paint, so the welds are nice and black. There's no green mixed in there, so worked out really well. Anyway, gonna get started. See you in a minute. Alright, so getting a little further along here. Got the outside welded up. It's pretty straightforward. It's a lot of work. Gotta have good temperature on the welder, and basically it's solid now. But still need to do the inside. The inside edge has to be done also. Gotta make sure, you can see we're really not all the way through the plastic. On the edges I go a little bit lighter because it's hard to get a nice clean edge, but during the major part we get pretty deep into it. But we got to make sure that weld is all the way through. So that's another quick look at the inside. You're going to notice that the inside looks a little bit different than the outside. It doesn't require quite as much work because the plastic's already most of the way welded through. But you'll notice this little hash pattern I use here. This is each one of these little things is, let's see if I can get focus, is like a bead of plastic where the two pieces are welded back together. The reason I do it in this pattern is because I use Bondo on the inside to reinforce it, and I like to keep those hashes. It doesn't need to look clean on the inside, and the Bondo fills in those hatches and grabs the plastic a little stronger. So So, you know, I don't know if anybody's ever bondoed before, but you try to slap bondo on a part that doesn't stick correctly, it pops right off. These hashes are going to prevent the bondo from just popping off. It's going to fill in each little groove and crack and stick in there nice and strong. So this part's about done. You can see got all the way through, So gonna let it cool and then slap some bondo in there. Probably prep the outside, resand it, fill in the little pits, and we can get to primer again. All right, here it is. This is all repaired. Didn't even have to bondo it. We were able to get it close enough. So you can kind of see from this angle. It's a little hard to see, but the alignment's not perfect, right? Like, it's really hard to get it lined up exactly right. So it's not gonna be exactly the same as when it was brand new, of course. Like, there's no way to do that. But in this case, it's gonna be, if you didn't know what it looked like before and you're not super nitpicky about it, like, it's gonna look perfect. Once it gets painted, it gets primered, everything's lined up, you put it on the bike, you're gonna never know that there was any damage to it. The only way you know is if you knew there was damage here and you went up this close and started looking. That's the only way you'll really be able to tell. So that's about the best we can do. Next step is to prep the rest of the part. You can see there's a little rash here we're gonna take care of here in a sec. And then this part has to be prepped and primered. Might fill that. That's a good chunk out of there. Then the I think those rub on the forks maybe. I don't know. But yeah, we gotta prep the part, spray primer. Looks like we're gonna paint tomorrow. All right, so here it is. Sorry it's loud in here. I got the fan going. It's been completely sanded, smoothed out. About to hit it with primer. Looks pretty good. Take a picture after we get it primered. All right, wanted to bring this out here, get some good lighting so you guys can see. It's kind of hard because it's flat black and it's hard to see a whole lot here. But you can see this part's all back to normal. So we've got a nice flat black to go with the rest of the bike. Anyway, not much else to say about it. Looks good as new. Anyway, thanks for watching, you guys. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Ronin Customs, RONIN Customs. Anyway, yeah, hit me up if you need any work done.